Most really cool effects rely on the additive effect of having multiple layers of different things that complement each other and contribute to adding a level of complexity and dynamic that make it actually work. And that's very valid for particles. We do, and in this situation, we already have nice blast. Doesn't mean it's the final shape of it, but I think it's in a good stage. And at this point, what we're going to be doing is adding a different layer to this. If we go to the camera 2, where we see it from the back, one of the elements that I feel it's missing, and it should add to the intensity of the impact and the energy level, and also for the graphics of the whole shape, is if we could have some sort of effect of radial blast that's going on these directions, kind of throughout the animation, having these layers kind of being pushed through kind of gradually, not all at the same time, but kind of feeling like we have some sort of waves on that blast, small bursts that kind of create this type of shape. So that's what we're going to be aiming for. And it's a good opportunity for us to try out simulating particle effects using flip fluids. So we're going to be relying on a lot of what we've already done. I'm going to grab the sphere. The difference between this one and the one that we already have, let's see. So let's go here, or better yet, I want to have a look at the edit on the final position. So we have this sphere that we're going to be using, and we're going to be applying a transform, which is going to be for us to animate the scale. And we're also going to be reusing the transform node that actually adjusts the position. Okay, so that's what we have. We don't want the clip. This is going to be a volume that's going to be emitting particles, but we do want to animate the scale. In terms of positioning, if we I wanted to match more or less what we already have here. So let me kind of, when we have the actual effect coming in, okay, you can see the particles there, and that's the size that I'm gonna go for, and that should be something like more this size, 0.7, 0.75, something like that. So that's the goal. But as I was saying, it'll be more interesting if we have bursts, layers of that radial motion being added to the current effect that we already have on the blast. So the way I'm gonna be animating that, it's not by hand. Instead, I'm gonna be using this value, but the main element of the equation that I'm going to be using is the sine function. And I'm going to be using the sine function of time. Time goes on very slowly. If you just do this, then it's going to be a very slow motion. So I'm going to be accelerating this by 100 to start. And these values will range between -1 and 1. I want to make sure we clamp those between 0 and 1. I don't want negative values. And then this is what we're going to be multiplying by the final value that we actually want. So let me see what's going on here. So we have the sine function that needs another parenthesis, and that should be fine. So now when we have a look at this, we should have a scale value. And as you can see, we need to accelerate it a bit more. So let's add like 800. Okay, that's what we're going to be using. I'm not gonna, we don't need to see this anymore. So we will have an object that has this motion. It may seem really fast, but it's a rhythm that works. I've tried it out before. You can slow it down for sure. So you can just come here, instead of 800, you can kind of put it to 600. That'll give you less bursts and bigger portions of particles being emitted. But I'm gonna go with 800 for now. And this will be our particle source, our fluid source. So we'll create a flip top source, and this will rely on voxel size and particle separation, so we can connect these two. So I'm going to copy parameter, paste relative reference, and for the voxel size I'm going to start with 0.01. We should see something happening. If you press W on the viewport, you should see the particles inside. I also want to make sure that the jitter seed is connected to time. That's also an option, so that they're always changing, the particles kind of being jittered around. After that, I think we have pretty much everything we need for the sake of emission.